Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we're going to talk about this Tyreek Hill fiasco. Now, we're going to discuss the stop, what Tyreek Hill actually said post his Miami Dolphins game, where they ended up winning, by the way, and I think he caught an 80-yard touchdown pass, and then we're going to compare and contrast that to the body cam footage, because needless to say, Tyreek Hill lied about this situation, and in fact, he continues to still lie about this situation, and I find it to be absolutely hilarious that people are painting him as the victim, even though the footage shows us that he was breaking the law, he was non-compliant, he ended up receiving some taste of the consequences that a normal person would for that non-compliance, and then he was let go by these police officers because he's a professional athlete. So what should be a story of somebody who's rich and famous getting away with law breaking has somehow turned into an evil white racism story, despite the fact that the police officers involved are Latino. They're not white. But we're going to get into that. Before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
Right now, you know, so I've been trying to figure that out too. Man. Right now, I'm still trying to put it all together. So I'm not going to give you a version that I still don't know what happened.
Why do you believe the police put you in handcuffs?
I have no idea, for real. No idea, man. It's crazy. No idea. It wasn't disrespectful, you know, because my mom didn't raise me that way. Didn't cuss. Didn't do none of that.
So this is a clip from the post-game conference before the actual body cam footage was released, where Tyreek Hill says he has no idea why he was put in handcuffs. He wasn't disrespectful at all whatsoever because his mama didn't raise him that way, and he definitely did not curse. Now, all of these things that he just asserted right there are completely false. In fact, he knows exactly why he was pulled over, he knows exactly why he was put in handcuffs, and it is all caught on video. And in fact, I will play you the video so you can see for yourself. And credit to the police department in this particular case for releasing multiple different angles of this footage, even though later on, there are some things that I want to point out that I believe that the police did in fact do wrong in this specific case. But let's roll into it. So to start this off, we see from the body cam footage of the motorcycle police officer, and a bunch of cars are driving by at relatively normal speeds. Then all of a sudden, you see Tyreek Hill in his sports car blitz by. Now, a lot of people have disputed how fast he was going and all that. One of the officers actually said that Tyreek Hill went 0 to 60 in terms of his attitude right away, so a lot of people are saying he was only going 60 miles per hour in a 55 zone, but as of right now, I'm gonna wait for confirmation on that. However, I will point out that when you see the motorcycle cop chase this person, Tyreek Hill is very far away and past almost all of the cars that you saw before him by the time the motorcycle cop ends up catching up to him. So it appears that he was going significantly faster than the traffic that was surrounding him.
How's your speeding? Move forward.
Now, there have been different versions of whether or not Tyreek was told why he was being pulled over. Some people said that supposedly he was being pulled over due to a seatbelt violation, but you can hear right there while he has his window open, and take note of that he was pulled over for speeding.
Yeah, we got him here. 6 o'clock.
Don't knock on my window like that, man.
Why don't you have your seatbelt on?
Don't knock on my window.
Why don't you have your seatbelt
Knock
on?
on my window like that, no.
Like what?
Don't knock on my window like that.
Why you have it up?
Don't knock on my window like that.
Why you have it up? I have to knock to let you know I'm here.
Don't knock
That
on
way you
my
can lower
window.
it and talk to
Just
you.
get my ticket, bro, so I can go. I'm finna be late, gang. Do what you gotta do.
Keep it down. Hey! Keep your window down. Hey! Keep your window down.
Don't tell me what.
Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car.
Now Hill goes from having his window open right there when he's told he's being pulled over for speeding to all of a sudden his window is being pulled up. And also you see the officer knocks on his window and Hill responds by telling him, don't bang on his window like that. Again, remember, he said he wasn't disrespectful at all whatsoever. And in fact, in another interview, he lied about this with a different lie that I want to play for you as well.
Have you seen what the police union has said about this?
No, I haven't.
So the police union says you're driving leading up to this traffic incident, quote, put, quote, others in great risk of danger. So they're accusing you of driving in a dangerous manner.
Okay.
And then they say in the aftermath, you're saying you were cooperating.
Right.
The police union says you were not cooperating.
Right.
It sounds like you very much dispute what the police union is saying.
I mean, you know, everybody has their own sides, their own version, you know, and I feel like they do that, you know, to kind of protect, you know, the officer, which is right. You know, you got to have, you know, your teammate back, you know, but I feel like at the end of the day, you know, if you like roll up on somebody all hostile, knocking on their window, and they already got their ID, you know what I'm saying, ready for you. It's not like I said, you're not getting my ID, you're not getting my ID. You know, it was one of those situations where it's like, here go my ID, sir, you know, and I let back up my window. He said, let it down, I let it down. Then that's when it went from 0 to 10. The other officer came in, just pulled me out.
So right there, he says when he was pulled over, he was like, here you go, officer, here's my ID. And then he rolled up his window, but it's okay because, you know, the officer told him to bring it down and he brought it down.
What if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? Lord knows, like, what that guy or guys would have did. You feel me? And I was just making sure that, you know, I was doing what my uncle always told me to do whenever you in a situation like that. Just listen. Put your hands on the steering wheel. Just listen. So, gotta be careful, man.
So right here, Hill says all he was doing is what his uncle told him, which was putting his hands on the steering wheel and just listening to the police officers. But again, we go back to the footage. They knock on his window. They tell him not to bring it down. He brings it back up. They knock on his window again. He ignores them. They knock on his window again. And then the officer says, if you keep putting that window up, I'm going to take you out of the car. But to be fair, right here, the officer who should be trying to de-escalate a situation decides really quickly after he says that, you know what, I'm going to take you out of the car. Now, to be clear, this is 100% lawful, and you can actually understand from this specific stop exactly why. If you look at the tint on Tyreek Hill's window, you can't see what's going on in this particular vehicle. And in fact, a Supreme Court decision has ruled that not only for the driver, but for the passenger, if a police officer is in danger or perceives danger, he can remove somebody from the vehicle. This is not somebody being put under arrest. And by the way, Tyreek Hill, again, did not immediately get out of the vehicle when it was requested of him. So they yank him out of the car, they handcuff him, and this is where the dynamic of the traffic stop changes. And by the way, it's going to change again, because once Tyreek Hill is suddenly in this situation, all of a sudden the script flips.
I had surgery on my knee, bro. I just had surgery on my knee, bro. I just had surgery in your ears when we told you to put your window down. Bro, chill, bro.
So you could actually hear Tyreek Hill say that he just had surgery on his knee, and he did have an ACL surgery, and he is playing, so it wasn't that recently. But the fact of the matter is, he is concerned about it. And from another body cam angle, you actually hear an officer say, oh, did you have surgery on your ear because you couldn't hear us? And honestly, all of this yelling and all this frustration, while I understand it because he was not complying, is actually just not necessary, and it's going to make you look bad when it turns out that this guy that you pulled over near the Dolphins Stadium is a star wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. Now, I also want to point out that we have a different version of events from Tyreek Hill on CNN, where he says that he rolled up his window because he didn't want people to recognize him as Tyreek Hill.
And when you watch it, can you tell us what happened with the moment with, you didn't see it there in the video, but you're in the car, they're yelling at you to roll your window down. What was happening there?
You know what? When the officer came up and knocked on my window, I let my window down, cooperated, gave him my ID, and then I immediately let up my window. And then after that, I let back up my window, and then he came back to the window and was like, "Let your window down now. Let your window down now." And then I let it down. That's when he said, "If you don't let your window down, I'm going to snatch you out of the car." I was like, "Sir, my window is down. Like, what do you want?" I'm not trying to cause a scene because, if I let my window down, like people walking by, driving by, they're going to notice that it's me and they're going to start taking pictures. And I didn't want to create a scene at all. Like, I just really wanted to get the ticket, and then just go on about my way.
And not only is that ridiculous on its face, but it also is completely contradictory to what he said earlier, which was he had his hands on the steering wheel, he was complying, he wasn't angry or disrespectful, and he was totally following orders. So which one is it, Tyreek? Well, we know which one it is. You were not complying, you felt entitled because you're an NFL player, you have a history of criminal problems, which a lot of people throw out the details of that, but let's just acknowledge that that exists. And for other people, if they had priors and acted this way, that weren't black people, that weren't star athletes, this would have worked against them and nobody would have said anything in their favor. But in this particular case, Tyreek Hill is playing victim despite the fact that he has 3 different versions of his story. And by the way, there are additional alternate versions of the story. So right here, Tyreek Hill completely and totally at fault. He was speeding. He was not cooperating. He refused to put his window down. He refused to get out of the car, and the police removed him. Then all of a sudden, the police are getting a little bit too aggressive for my liking, and of course, this is going to lead to the consequences with them, but there actually is a significant issue here, and that is the police were enforcing this law about a 25-foot gap between them and people filming the police, and I have to say, I don't like this law, and it's used against NFL players that pull over in order to see about their friend, but it's actually used against this guy, a fan, and this is exactly the reason why that law needs to go.
25 feet, hey, 25 feet. Hey, listen, sir, you got 25 feet from us. Hey. By state law. Move. By state law. Move. I'll tell you what. Hey. Listen, I'll tell you what. He gave you 25, I gave you 25. That's 50 feet over there. That's 50 feet over there.
Y'all are.
They got
security coming from.
Keep walking. It's 50 feet, sir. Keep walking. Keep walking. You film all you want. I'm filming you too. Your camera doesn't scare me. Keep walking. That's not 50 feet. Keep walking. Keep walking. That's not 50 feet. Keep walking. That's not 50 feet. Keep walking.
Bro, just back up. You're making it. It's too hot. Just back up. I'm not making it anything. No, we got it. Everything's under control. No, everything's
yeah, super cop. Whatever.
That's 50.
We got you. Okay.
We got you.
So look, you are allowed to 100% film the police while in public doing their duty. And if there are legitimate issues of people who are filming the police that are actually interfering with the arrest, then they should be arrested for doing so. But right here, you actually see an abuse of this 25-foot buffer by the officer going up to this individual who is filming and pushing him back and pushing him back and pushing him back. This guy right here is the person who had his civil liberties violated. All these NFL players, yes, they experienced too much aggression from this particular officer. In fact, there was an incident where the guy had pulled over and they were going to write him a ticket because he wasn't able to park. And yet again, we have a command for him to leave without giving him time to leave.
Straight up the side on the side of the
Hey, get in the car. You're parked in the middle of the street.
I'm in the car. You gotta go before you get a ticket.
Hey, I'm in the car.
Who's the driver? This is my car.
All right, move.
I'll take that.
You gotta move right now. Let me have your license. You're gonna have a ticket too.
I'm coming.
Let me have your license. You're gonna have a ticket. Let me have your license.
I'm leaving.
I'm not playing. Let me have your license.
Leaving. Yo, what's
your
going
license
on?
right now.
So what's going on?
Your license right now. You're not gonna give me your license?
But right here, this individual, this person is the one who I believe has a solid case against the police, especially if he would have been arrested for this, because they're abusing that 25-foot rule right here, plain in our sight on body camera, and it should be thrown out just based on the way that the officers are applying it in this scenario, because you do have a right to film the police. You are protected in First Amendment activity. You do have a right to film in public. These are public officials, and this is an abuse of power. Ironically, it's an abuse of power against this fan, not necessarily against these NFL players. Now, throughout the course of this stop, what ultimately ends up happening is that some of the officers realize that he is the star wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins, and you can actually see when the energy churns, and they decide that they're going to let all of them go. In fact, one of these big players over here, I forgot his name, was put in handcuffs for a minute. He ends up taking a knee because he's a big dude and sitting down. It's an issue for him. But there's a moment where he gets recognized by fans, and you can actually see the smile on his face when the officer's reaction to him being recognized is seen by him.
I love the cameras.
I don't even know what I did wrong.
I told you.
I didn't know I can't stand somewhere.
I told you.
A friend of mine is...
Not only that, but not only can you not stop, but it's 25 feet now. Okay? Per law.
Tell me 25 feet.
No, but I don't need to tell you that.
I'm a big fan.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I don't need to tell you that, sir. If I'm telling you leave, leave. Why do you not leave?
Because you have my friend in handcuffs.
But don't worry about it.
And immediately, and I'm saying immediately, there's a total shift in the energy right here.
I understand. Listen, I understand you're trying to protect him. Hold on. Hey, Nick. Give me a handcuff key. Handcuff key. What? Handcuff key. Oh, yeah. He's scared you. Hold on. Give me your hand here, okay? Give me 1 second. This is not personal, man, but I'm telling you, read between the lines. Get out of here, man. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's hard to do, though, man.
I understand that. What's your name? I'm sorry?
Calais.
What is it?
Calais.
Calais? Listen, relax, okay? Relax your arms. Relax your arms.
This officer runs back to his motorbike, grabs the key, uncuffs him, and right here, you see that the power balance has shifted back to the NFL players. In fact, Tyreek Hill is so confident by the end of this that he goes up, looks every officer in the eye, and shakes their hands, gets in their face, just to let them know that he's back in control of this situation. And the fact of the matter is, this all started because of Tyreek Hill's lack of compliance, lack of desire to obey the law, lack of respect for the law, and entitlement that he gets as an NFL player. And by the way, he's had this entitlement, my guess, since high school, because a lot of these players, when they're that good, it is known when they're young. So throughout all of high school, throughout all of college, throughout all of the NFL, almost nobody has ever told this man no, and that's why he thinks he is perfectly fine to act that way. Now, were the police aggressive in a situation where they didn't need to be? Yes, 100%. Were they totally justified in pulling him out of the car? Yes, 100%. Supreme Court precedent is on our side, and even the practical realities of this situation, where his tint is so strong that you can't see in his vehicle, would indicate that for their safety, they can pull somebody out and place them in handcuffs. But Tyreek Hill, of course, is taking it too far. He's decided that he's going to play the victim based on the aggression later, based on the ambiguity of the situation early, based on the cell phone video before the body cam video, and a lot of people are letting him get away with it. But my favorite thing that has come out of this is that while they're accusing these cops who are Latino of evil white racism, Tyreek Hill and the people that are defending him cannot help but go out of their way to comment on the ethnicity of the officers.
Now, I know a lot of people watch that video, hear that video, and say to themselves, I'm calling ICE on every single one of those police officers. Okay, if ever a wall needed to be built, I'm sure they are here legally because they are all police officers, but I just want to make sure, because if you're going to treat Tyreek Hill like that, then I need to make sure you don't need to be deported.
If white radio hosts in conservative media went on the air and said that Latinos, based on the fact that they have a Latino accent, are illegal immigrants and they need to be checked in the way that he did, that would obviously be considered evil white racism and all that. But guess what? We don't get any of that from anybody reacting to Charlemagne. On top of that, we also have Tyreek Hill himself throwing out comprendes and all this different stuff in his interview, where he said that these officers still need to be fired. They can't be on the force, because he's doubling down and tripling down on his lies about this scenario.
The lawyer has come out and said that he's looking for the dismissal of the officer. What does that mean?
Gone.
So you want the officer to be
gone. He gotta go, man. Cause in that instant right there, like, not only did he treat me bad, you know what I'm saying, he also treated my teammates with, disrespect. He had some crazy words towards them, and they ain't even do nothing. Like, what did they do to you? They just walking on the sidewalk. So I don't know, bro. Like, he gotta go, man. Like, it's not too many times that cheaters say people gotta go, but out. What they say on Wild and Out? Gone. No comprende.
All right. Thank you.
You knew I was gonna say something crazy.
In fact, one of the only people who publicly backed Tyreek Hill, who publicly took his version of events as gospel, only to turn around later once he saw the body cam footage, was Stephen A. Smith, and he deserves a bit of credit for that because he was going super over the top in his first segment, but in his second segment, where he noted the aggression of the officers post Tyreek Hill doing something wrong, he pointed out that Tyreek Hill did in fact do something wrong.
Here's the problem. We all came on the air seeing the initial footage in complete, unadulterated support for Tyreek Hill. You pull over. They tell you to roll down your window. What's the first thing Shannon just talked about? The first thing they do when they pull us over, they pull me over. All my windows are down. My hands on the steering wheel. That is not what Tyreek Hill did. Tyreek Hill had his window up. The officer bangs on, knocks on his window. He didn't bang on his window. He knocked on his window. You hesitated to pull it down. The first thing you say is, don't bang on my window like that. Don't bang on my window like that. Don't bang on my window like that. He asked you for your driver's license. You hesitated to give him your driver's license. You said in the post-game conference, hey, y'all, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? What if you weren't Tyreek Hill? What would have happened to you if somebody that wasn't Tyreek Hill kept the windows rolled up, hesitated to roll it down, didn't give you the license immediately when you asked for it, and then hesitated to get out the car when they told you to get out the car? See, we got to be responsible. And the point that I'm trying to make is this. In no way should the officers be excused for what they did. I totally agree with you, Dom, every syllable. You too, Shannon, every syllable. But I also am saying, yo, Tyreek, yo, bro, you didn't deserve that. I'm not implying that you did. But the police officers do have the power. When they pull up on you and they tell you to roll down that window, and they tell you to give you your driver's license, and they tell you to get out that car, that's what you got to do.
So let's be clear about this. The police officers were fully within their rights to pull over Tyreek Hill. They were fully within their rights to ask him to roll down his window, and guess what? Fully within their rights to pull him out of the car. Tyreek Hill was undeniably uncompliant, undeniably disobeyed orders, and undeniably, through his tinted window and his refusal to roll it down, presented a legitimate perception of a threat to those officers. So all of that is in the clear. Now, were the officers aggressive, and I believe unnecessarily so, post this because they got angry? Sure. 100%. And honestly, I don't like it. Did one of these officers, in my opinion, actually violate the civil rights of somebody by trying to use a bad law to push them back further away from where this was going down? Yes, undeniably. On top of that, you have all those officers. Tyreek Hill is already in handcuffs. This is not a situation where they're wrestling a guy and somebody's right up on them. He's trying to push him back 25 feet and then going closer and saying he needs to be back 50 feet. And that is ridiculous and absurd. And Florida needs to change that law. Let's be clear about that. But when you break this down, what you find out is that this is yet another media hoax, yet another racism hoax in the United States of America. And it's kind of crazy that Tyreek Hill was acting in a way that none of you would be able to act with this many police officers around you. And he was let go because of his name, because he was a professional athlete. And then he's still playing victim. He's still saying he was treated poorly because he was black, when in reality, what we see on the tape is that he was given grace and ended up getting let go because he was famous. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like this video, show them by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on the social media. Support me to the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the lies of Tyreek Hill. Till next time.